The Experience Pros Radio Show, home of the original Fan Braggin' Fridays. Take just 20 seconds to become a business revolutionary by sharing a fan braggin' story of great customer service by using the hashtag FanBrag or calling the Fan Braggin' hotline at 855-FAN-BRAG, FANBRAG. Now back to Angel and Eric, the Experience Pros.
Welcome back to the Experience Pros Radio Show. Thanks for taking time out of your day to join us for ours. When we talk about positive business talk, one of the things that we tend to forget is right in the middle of all of our business, also at the same time, is all of our family. And the interactions that we have with our family are precious.
They absolutely are. And do you feel as if you're missing out on some of this precious family time? Do you think you could just do better as a family unit? Well, our guest is Roni Lambrecht. She was a typical wife and mom from Castle Rock, Colorado, here in Castle Rock, working long hours to make ends meet. Does this sound familiar? She said when her entire world changed in a split second while her family was on vacation in California and her son Dalton left for heaven just after Christmas in 2013 due to injuries from an ATV accident. And since then, Roni and her husband John have made it their mission to help other parents live better, more meaningful lives with their children. Roni Lambrecht, welcome to the Experience Pros Radio Show.
Well, hi, Eric. Hi, Angel. Thanks for having me.
It is fantastic having you, Roni. And first and foremost, let us, once again, we've done this in person, but let us express our sincere condolences to the loss of your son. It's 4 years, and I know that it will never, ever get, old, right? It's one of those things so horrible. When you went through that horrible time, what was going through your mind? I mean, I've lost friends and family members. It's you feel powerless.
Totally powerless, totally out of control, and totally out of body. I don't know how else to explain it. It's like you're watching someone else run the puppet of you. It's just crazy, and that feeling actually lasted almost 2 years for us. Where it just feels like you're out of your body constantly and you're numb and you're just watching yourself kind of go through everyday life experiences.
Sure.
Because you have to move on. You have to keep forging ahead and paying your bills and working and, all that kind of stuff.
So
yeah.
I know that you ask parents now on a regular basis, if you knew that your child would be gone tomorrow, what would you do differently today? What kind of response do you get from that?
A lot of parents just kind of laugh it off, but a lot of them will really stop and talk with me, especially if they know us or have heard our story. It's I don't know, it's so poignant. Obviously for me, now that we're at the backside of parenting, looking back on what we did, and Dalton's not here with us anymore. It's easier, obviously, for us to look back and say, wow, I did that really well, but I really sucked at that.
I think this
really
is
could have done that better.
Something that, especially with moms, we always, we kind of beat ourselves up and we have the mom guilt. And did I do enough? Was I there enough? Did we create enough memories, or were we just all caught up in being busy and the chaotic of life? Because Roni, I don't think any of us can even imagine that, what it would be like to lose our child, but we're not necessarily living every day as if we were. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I think, a lot of people will tell me that, well, you know what, when I'll really focus on that when we go to Disney World, or we go on our big vacation to Mexico, or when we go to the family wedding in July. And for me, it's really tough for me to think of that, okay, so between now and that big event, you might have 5 months or 3 weeks or whatever. What about all those moments in between where you make dinner together, or you do the dishes together, or you're working on laundry or cleaning the house or going to a movie, or could you have a family game night? And all those things in between, the big events are, I think, more important than the big event.
Sure. So Roni, do you have some tips today, just speaking to the heart of parents, of things that we can do to capture each day, to capture this day, to change from that chaotic, just busy and waiting for the big moments? I know you mentioned a couple things, eating dinner, but what are some practical things that your clients, people, the families that you've worked with, that you've seen them instill to make such a big difference?
I think one of the biggest things is for people to just stop. So say you just walked in from work and you're feeling all chaotic from work and that kind of a thing. And just stopping for just a moment and realizing, look around your home and see what you've built, and then look at your children and take a deep breath, and your daughter's smiling, or your son gave you a hug, or there's artwork on the fridge. All these little things, like somebody made a funny comment that only your teenager could come up with, or, you're doing chores together. All those little tiny things, if you can just stop while you're in the moment
and savor
take a deep breath and be really appreciative that you actually had that opportunity.
Yeah, I'm big on that. I love savoring the moment, whatever it is, because you never know. Either it will just pass and go, right, and we'll forget,
Yeah.
or you may never get the opportunity again.
Yeah, Eric is really good. I am the one that says, okay, we did this and let's go to the next thing. And I'm always in forward motion, that I have to be very intentional about drawing to and recognizing the moments as they are happening. Okay. Roni, I know you've got a book out, you've got some great resources out, and even a fundraiser opportunity for folks listening. Do you want to share that?
Absolutely. I've got my books. I released the first one is called Parenting at Your Best: Straightforward Tips for Parenting with Mindfulness. And my second book is A Parent's Guide for Journaling to Your Child. And one of the cool things is that in the first book, the whole first chapter is about writing to your child and also teaching them to write back to you. And because we're creating human beings here that are someday maybe going to be married and have spouses of their own and have kids of their own, and we want them to be able to write love letters and that kind of a thing. So we need to start by showing them how to write a love letter to them, and then also teaching them back and forth. And then other parents have asked us if they could do anything for John and I in the midst of all of this, what would it be? And one of our main answers for any parent is, you know what, stop and take a few minutes tonight and write your kid a love letter. And you could give it to them now. You could wait. For me, I had a journal that I had started for Dalton before he was ever born, and I was going to give it to him on his 18th birthday. And he knew it was there, but he, never got to see it because I was holding it back from him. So I don't know that I would ever tell somebody to hold it that long, because you just never know.
Right.
But it's so cool to be able to have that stuff. And what was really funny is when we were telling parents that, and still to this day, when I tell parents, please just write to your kids, parents will say to me, I have no idea where to start. I'm not a writer. I don't know what to say. And so I put together this little guide, and it's only 64 pages. It's really simple. And you can just keep it with your journal or your notebook or however you write to your child. But it just gives you little topics. So you could say, okay, what am I going to write about today? And you could flip to a page and find something fun to write about.
I love this.
Yeah, and there's simple things in there, like when you were a kid, if you were standing out in front of your house, like you were standing at the street, explain what it all looked like. So where the trees in the front yard, and was there grass in the yard, and there was a sidewalk, and how did your front porch look, and what did your house look like, and all those kind of things, because we forget in so many cases that our kids would really love to hear our stories, but we don't stop and talk about the little things so that they can picture it like we pictured it.
Really, really good. We are talking with Roni Lambrecht, and the question for you now is, where do our listeners go to get copies of your books?
They can go on Amazon, and they can also go to my website, which is parentingatyourbestwithoutregrets.com.
parentingatyourbestwithoutregrets.com. Folks, I encourage you to connect with Roni and get a copy of the book, the workbook as well, and use these tools to build stronger bonds with your children and your relationships with your family.
I love the name of the website, Parenting at Your Best Without Regrets. I think that's something we all aspire to. Roni, thank you so much for telling your story and for healing the way that you have done in sharing with so many. I know it makes such a big difference. We're so grateful to have you on the show today.
Thank you guys so much.
Absolutely.
Have a great day.
You too. Folks, don't go anywhere. More positive business talk just on the other side of these messages. This is the Experience Pros Radio Network.
America's home for positive business talk. You're listening to the Experience Pros Radio Show. Contact them on the web at experiencepros.com.